Good morning, everyone. Catherine Cooke, founder of The Engine and leading business advisor, and we are live this morning talking about, is the recession the perfect storm bearing growth opportunity for business owners? I'm joined with Kirit Lal, partner from Walker Wayland Auckland, and Andrew Skinner, who is a director within Urlich Milne Lawyers. Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
Hi, Kirit.
Hi, everybody. Again. Kirit, you and I were discussing business continuity planning last week on LinkedIn Live, and we received some great feedback, gems around risk management and planning. In the last week, is there anything else you have reflected on with respect to risk management that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yes, sure. I mean, it's been an ongoing topic, and one of the things that came out from that one, which I encountered straight away with a client of mine, which was all to do with internal risk management. So we've been talking about external risk management, internal risk management with people, and the people that you're business owners with. I got Andrew into this a little bit late, I think, on Monday, where it was all about shareholder contracts and shareholder agreements, and the risk was that we had one shareholder who just disappeared off the scenes, and the other three shareholders then found that he was having a hand in the pocket. So trying to ensure that how do you minimize that risk and what is your comeback, because he had already exited the business. He was not part of the running of it, but the company was left with all the debt, and the other shareholder got money for his shares. So how do you minimize that? So it was quite interesting as an add-on to what we talked about.
And Andrew, just going a little bit off topic there, I mean, would you have to go to the High Court to address that issue, or is it something that you can address through, shareholder resolution? Is that something that you do in that regard?
In this particular example that Kirit's talking about, it was the claims that the company would bring against the outgoing shareholder for what activities he'd been doing in the business, and where the claim was issued would depend on the value and what had been going on. But certainly if it's could be in the district court, but if it's getting up into the hundreds of thousands, then you're kind of moving into the High Court and so forth. There are potentially other orders you could obtain as well to try and recover monies, or just depending on what particular activity being done.
I see it happening too often, as you guys probably do, people just going into business with other people and not realising, just the extent of, what does the future look like, and who am I actually working with, and are we wanting the same things out of this, and trying to sort of pull everything apart and get it back to a level where the business can function again can be quite challenging. So Andrew, coming back to you, you've been a provider to the Engine helping business owners and commercial law for the last 3 years. You recently joined Urlich Milne Lawyers. Tell us a little bit about Urlich Milne Lawyers and why you're passionate about business and law and Urlich Milne Lawyers.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. Yes, it's very exciting. I've been here for a month now, so it's great to be here. Urlich Milne is a firm based in Epsom. We've got 3 partners, and we really focus on 3 key areas, which is myself and business, and then property and trust. So between us, the 3 partners really do focus on all the core areas that a lot of our clients want advice on, and often the advice is complementary because one sort of leads into the other. So it's really great, actually. We've got a great small team of staff as well. So we're really passionate about providing sort of that pragmatic advice for clients to really focus on solutions for them, and that's what really appealed about the firm and kind of is my ethos as well, so it works well.
Well, if I know you as well as I do, Andrew, to be pragmatic but also practical, and people need that right now. They need to actually understand that more so than ever, when they're actually going and getting loans and putting personal collateral in, just how much is on the line. So it is all sort of intertwining and making sure that you protect and preserve. So Kirit, there's a lot of conversation out in the media about the recession, and we titled this discussion around the storm with opportunity. I love this analogy, as we've seen communities rally together with adversity of the storms and COVID, and we've certainly been here before with financial doom and gloom. What should businesses be doing to de-risk before red flags occur in your viewpoint?
Yeah, sure. There are a number of things that a business can do and probably should be doing, at the moment, which is to look at their items like cash flow, making sure that they're not getting into more debt. The debt that they have got is actually income-producing debt instead of what I would call disposable asset debt. So trying to restructure that, making sure that you get the best tax advice so that you're on top of your tax commitments as you actually come through, and also seeing that if you're in a business and if there are any opportunities within other sort of complementary businesses that you could tag along, because there could be other businesses not doing as well as what you may be doing if you had already planned for the future, and if you've already tried to de-risk yourself with the cash reserves, etc. If you can bolt on more add-on services to your business, that will just complement and make you stronger. So instead of just relying on one particular chain of services, you are now providing a greater chain, which then actually leads you on to being more diversified, so you could weather the storm as they come through.
Yeah, look, all the things that you're talking about, we should be doing them before it becomes a problem, right? So, talking to the accountant, shouldn't be an annual thing. Talking to the IRD if you've got a problem front-footed, like these are things that you and I talk about all the time. Why is it correct that people just don't feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I think it's all about the fear of not actually of getting found out, because everybody lives this ideal perfectionist type of a scenario in business that, we are bulletproof, nothing can happen to us, we'll always be all right. So when you do come across any problems, you feel quite shy to front foot the problem, which means that you think that the problem would go away. But as you and I know, problems don't go away, they just become bigger if you leave it on for too long. So the idea is to address them sooner, get them done, make sure that you've got experts around you who could give you the right advice, and find a solution and move on, because everyone in business do have their ups and downs. Every business will have times when they come across a situation, whether it's cash flow, whether it's people, whether it's got to do with expectations from customers, etc., products and delivery, whatever it may be. You just need to make sure that you deal with the situation, not just bury your head under the sand, as they say, because the problem doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't. It gets bigger and bigger, and then obviously sometimes that comes to you, Andrew, but just still trying to keep us on a positive, so we don't end up getting into that clickbait negativity of what's happening. What do you think, from your point of view, how to de-risk from a legal point, Andrew?
Yeah, well, agree with everything that you've been saying as well. From my perspective, over the last 6 months, everyone's really been focusing on their accounts payable and their accounts receivable. And for the accounts receivable, it's about making sure you've got good terms and conditions when you sell a product that give you the opportunity to enforce that if for some reason they're slow in paying. So I've done a lot of work with clients on updating their terms and conditions, taking security if they're a business that supplies products. I think people maybe got a little bit slack over the last few years, and now that's becoming more important. And also maybe those personal guarantee parts of the form weren't being filled out as much as they should have been, and now they're being filled out. So you've supplied a good product, you've worked hard, you need to be paid, and you need to make sure that money's coming in. So that's one of the key areas we've been focusing on with clients.
Yeah, it comes back to that whole cash is king, and understanding, who you're supplying and where that money's coming from. And, I've got a lot of clients out there who, may get paid by somebody who gets paid by somebody, and it's understanding who the somebody is that's paying them, to understand what those payment terms and when that's delayed, what your client may be doing to mitigate that risk, because obviously you don't want to be left lumped with that situation. So many of us have been here before. We understand the need to be proactive and agile. Obviously in terms of looking at potential opportunities, diversification, acquisition, cost optimization, innovation, strategic partnerships, online presence, and collaboration. These are the things that I'm talking to people about. What's the appetite? So, Kirit, in terms of the clients that you're working with, are you keeping it at that high level of looking at where those sweet spot opportunities could be?
Yes, all the time. So trying to make sure that the clients do actually understand when there is an opportunity out there, that they do assess it and make sure that they make the right decision at that point in time to say, yes, we're doing it or we're not doing it. And also making sure that it's not about the opportunities that have actually passed by that they can't get back, but it's the future opportunities as well, because people normally, once they see an opportunity, they assess it and then they say, oh, it just went away because I didn't act fast enough. I was too busy with this, too busy with that. But it doesn't mean to say that future opportunities will not turn up. So, you need to see what you're doing, how you can do it better. Is there any of your own systems and processes that you can fine tune, which is then going to give you a lot more productivity in your business? Can you do it cheaper? Can you actually do it faster? All those sort of things are quite important. So trying to evaluate as you go along. So we've got a lot of touch points with our clients during the year, so we don't just stay still. We are talking to them and we are making sure that they understand when things do come to the crunch, what they need to do. And I think it's all about giving people the confidence that, hey, we're over here to talk to you. We are your trusted business partners. We're over here to make sure that we can help you succeed, because if they succeed, everyone else over here succeeds. So it's, and as far as the New Zealand business community goes, it's very small, as you know, Catherine. So, we can always find people in our networks that could help people if we ourselves cannot help the businesses. So it's all about being proactive.
And look, sometimes we've got to actually do that. We even as specialists, we go in and we might be, coaching or advising them, or you might be legal or something. At the end of the day, if a client needs some help, I found myself coming across a name in a client's ledger and was owed money, and I said, look, I know this person, I'll call them. So I actually called that person and said, hey, this is me, I'm helping this business. It'd be really good if you could clear this up, and I wanted to ring you before it got passed over because I know who you are. So I'm hoping that money got paid overnight, but that was the outcome. Was you still get that paid now, but you've got to do that. You've got to dig deep. You've got to help, and when people see that you're there, you're not just for appointments. That you actually I call it swimming alongside them. They can also then go about building their own confidence and thriving. And just coming back to that diversification piece, I mean, Andrew, you must see it a lot when you've got businesses that want to do mergers and acquisition together, right? And you've got to try and knit the two together, and so the products might kind of fit well, and it might all seemingly work. But what do we really need to be understanding with mergers and acquisitions from a legal perspective, from your point of view?
Well, yeah, there is a lot of opportunities out there in the acquisition space at the moment. I was with a group of brokers on Tuesday morning, giving them some training, and the general feeling was that things are picking up in that acquisition space, which is really good to hear. And yeah, it's all about I guess analysing in your due diligence in terms of that acquisition target, that it is actually going to be diversifying and complementary, and actually going to create those synergies that you're hoping for. So that due diligence investigation is really important before you proceed. In terms of other opportunities, look, across my wide range of clients, it's very industry specific. Some in sort of that building and construction space are finding things a bit tighter at the moment, but then in food retail, we have started 3 franchise systems this year, and as you know, I'm pretty passionate about franchising and licensing, and there are opportunities out there. There's quite a bit of leasing space out there, so if you can find the right partners and you've got a business that's scalable and doesn't require you to have a whole lot of capital can pass it on to someone else in a franchising context. I think that's a great opportunity at the moment.
Yeah, look, like you, I'm passionate about franchising and licensing. I guess, though, for me, what I'd love to see around that whole franchising licensing is really franchises looking at the capability of people before they take them in. It's not just about do they fit the value system, but can they run a business? And so, as you both know, we've developed a new Business 101 e-learning program here at the Engine, and we're looking to roll that out and hopefully bring on board a bit more capability, compliance, stronger foundation pillars to make sure that these franchisees are well set up for running a business. Like going into a franchise, you get the brand, you get the system, you still got to run a business, right? And there's certain elements of that people are still learning as they're trying to get some money in the bank to pay back what they've actually just paid in. So would you guys agree there that there needs to be more foundational pillars around people setting up companies and actually understanding what business is about before they get into it?
From my perspective, absolutely. I think that's right. And it's a really good point you raise, and we sort of labour that with franchisors, that they're just going to be careful. And it's not a case of just signing an agreement and saying, good luck. You're on a journey with that franchisee and you've got to help them, because often those people may be coming from employment or different backgrounds. And as you say, so yeah, Business 101 training would be very valuable for them.
Well, that's another conversation for another day, because it's also generational changes and bringing people in, from family, also to take over business. So that's a whole nother subject. But today I'd like to focus on opportunities rather than talk about the recession. It's not that I bury my head in the sand, and you both know I don't. But if we focus all on the negative, we might as well close up shop. The recession puts us all in the same boat, the same problem. However, if we can look at these opportunities, we've discussed we have something positive to work towards and therefore fuel the opportunity for the plan to reality. That's how I view this recession. Again, I'm not saying ignore that there are warnings, that there are a recession, but there really shouldn't be, we shouldn't be thinking about the negativity. We should be de-risking and harnessing opportunities for growth. Kirit, have you got any further comment around that?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you that it's all about making sure that you are de-risking yourself. You're looking at the opportunities, what you can get along the way, and cashing up on them, because it is in that phase at the moment. It's just like the simple example of first home buyers. They were out of the market a couple of years ago. The property market was very hot. They used to go to auctions and have 10 other people that they were competing against. And then now, they have properties on the market for such a long time, they haven't had attraction, etc. But if you hadn't saved from those days when you were going to the auctions and looking to buy properties, and now when you do have opportunities with the property market, it's so important to make sure that you had planned back then to be in the property market now, because what we have at the moment is what history has shown is not going to last forever. So a property that there was, say, $1.2 million, the average price in Auckland 12 months ago, and is now $1 million. It's $200,000 worth of savings. It's a lot of money. So things like that, it's all about trying to make sure that you have actually positioned yourself correctively, so when the time is right, you can execute. And we can't emphasize enough that cash is king. You need to save up. You just don't keep spending money if you don't have to. You've got to save up, because these are the times when, one, it gives you the comfort that, yes, you've got the cash reserve, say, in case you lose your job or your business doesn't go well. But also at the same time, if you still have your business, you still got a job, and if you want to go out and buy a franchise, like what Andrew was saying, you do have the money to go in, because with franchises, banks give you 50% of the money, of the value of the franchise. You're paying 50%. So if you have saved $200,000 and there is a franchise available for $400,000, you could actually go to the bank, and having a good, strong savings record, changing the mindset from being an employee to a business owner, all of that would help. So quite important. These are the opportunities, because everybody's out there making, out there to survive. So if you can make sure that you've got the tools to survive,
Yeah, look, I use the word proactive. You know, you've got to be proactive and you've got to be thinking ahead. You can't just be doing in the now. If you're in the now, then you won't get ahead. You've got to be proactive. So, Andrew, just coming back to you about de-risking, what should business owners be doing from a legal perspective to de-risk in this market? Just, I know we've talked a little bit about it before, but what else could they be doing?
Yeah, I guess not so much legal, but looking at your costs. And I see a lot of opportunity out there. We do a lot of work in the commercial property space. So I see a lot of opportunity out there to look at if you're leasing a business, you know, is that the right size for you? Is it actually fit for purpose? I think there's really good opportunities out there. There's a lot of lease space available. And you know, we've all seen this working from home thing happen over the last few years. I'll put aside my views on that, but it's here to stay. And you know, do you actually need the size of space that you're in now? And is that an opportunity for you to kind of look, if your lease is coming up, to look around and perhaps reduce some cost there?
It's an interesting subject. I had a client a number of years ago, and they were paying like nearly $180,000 for their premises, and using not even half of it, but just wanted to stay there. And I'm like, so you don't mind paying all this money and not utilising it? Like, you don't want to sublet it, you don't want to downsize? And they were adamant they didn't want to do it. And it actually took a while for me to actually get them to be convinced that they were losing money. I actually said to them, let's go down to the EFTPOS machine and you can just draw the money out and give it to me now in advance. But, you know, now that business has actually moved and gone into premises that is half the price, but not that much smaller, believe it or not, they've now got all this disposable money that they can use to buy stock and not have to fund it and a whole lot of things. So it's interesting how maybe we become creatures of habit to our environment, and it's not until we get an outsider's point of view coming in that we actually, you know, sort of get that sort of light bulb moment. So you know, back in the end of 2007 and start of 2008, you know, I'm sure you both remember the financial crisis that was happening worldwide. So, you know, for me in business, I implemented some immediate strategies. One was natural attrition. And for those of you that don't know what natural attrition is, didn't replace people who left on the basis of, do we need that role or can we absorb that role into another role? So really looked at the business need. And I went back to the foundational pillars. People say to me still, vision, mission, values is all waste of time, but it's actually the necessity of your business. You know, if you don't know where you're going, you may as well board the bus with no destination. So I went back to my vision statement and I read it on the wall, and it talked about Northern Hemisphere, and we had that as part of the strategic plan, which was about another 3 to 5 years away, part of the 10-year plan, and we brought it forward. And then I was able to add on an extension, which led to another amazing opportunity and propelling brands and all that, so on and so on. The most important thing I did, though, is I actually went out and saw people, and we talked about it yesterday in business continuity planning that we're doing for the EMA, is networking was so important. You needed to solidify relationships. And I became the squeaky wheel, the person that was just there all the time and sharpened my pencils on tenders before they came to me and said, hey, you know, you need to sharpen your pencil, we're going to go, you know, around and tender it. So by doing these things, front footing it, as you were saying, Kirit, you're able to retain that business. So Andrew, you've been here before. What gems have you got for businesses? We talked about natural attrition, we've talked about going back to pillars. I mean, what's your perception around vision, mission and values, that whole?
Yeah, I really endorse everything you're saying. I think it's great, and I think there's not enough of that strategic planning going on in business, and actually reaching out and getting the right advice to help you with that. It's very easy, I'm guilty of it as well, get embroiled in the day-to-day and the weeks fly by, but actually taking that time to think about the next 3 to 5 years, and network hard. I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of that. Been out and about a lot, and I sort of feel as though personally, every time you're out of your business and you're talking to other people. It's beneficial. It doesn't really matter in the environment or you know, it's beneficial when you just pick up little gems all the time about the way they're doing things. They could be in completely different industries, but it helps and it gives you a bit of a buzz, and you come back and you know, it's great for your sort of your, you know, moving forward. So that's what I would say, and there isn't probably enough of that kind of reaching out, and there's lots of people out there who are happy to help, and it may not actually cost that much as well.
Yeah, you know, sitting at your desk, chained to it every day. We look at this computer or we stay within the walls. We'll never learn anything more than what's in the walls, right? So it's so important to get outside. I mean, Kirit, I don't need to tell you how important it is to front foot the idea. You just talked about it before, or ensure funders are happy. You know, you and I have many discussions around, you know, this not happening and we problems spiral. What would you recommend as opportunities from an accounting fiscal management point of view?
Yeah, I would say cash flow management, making sure that you are on top of your suppliers, you are on top of the ID payments. Don't actually think that the ID will go away. They're the last people to pay for, because that's generally the thing, that people think that we don't need the ID, we need our suppliers, you know, so they can keep supplying us goods and services that we actually need to run our business. So we'll put the ID at the end, but they're the ones who actually have the harshest penalties and the harshest interest costs in all of it, and it's all system generated. So, you know, there's not a lot of flexibility in that. So being in your front foot, trying to make sure that you are actively doing your cash management, as what Andrew said, have a look at your sale terms, be proactive in your debtors management. You know, when you start feeling that, hey, one of your customers actually is having some financial difficulty, you just need to start being in front of them, start actually working through to say, what can we actually do to make sure that we get paid? And don't keep trading. If you're not going to get paid, don't keep trading, you know, because you're going to be chasing your bad debts afterwards, and that's not the best use of your time. So you know, one of my old bosses said, you can go broke by making money. So it's not the top line that you need to focus on, it's on the bottom line. So quite important to focus on the bottom line, and always important to focus on the cash flow, because cash is king.
Absolutely, and you don't want to be in an insolvency situation and have a recall of money coming back out of your account because you didn't have enough to pay creditors and you paid yourself. So a lot of people don't really understand that whole fiscal thing very well. So just coming back to that though, we talk about the ship duties, and I'm just so passionate about that, because I really think that when people go into business, they're trying to do everything. And we talked about this the other day, correct? Where, you know, as I said to you in Whakashama, you know, they've got to put business continuity planning in rest homes and retirement villages as a compulsory compliant. In April 24, it has to be fully regulated. And they've got staff shortages that have actually had to outsource it to consultants. And you know, now's the time, if you really want to get your business thriving, bring on the experts that can help you, you know, bring on the right accountant that can help build that three-way cash flow and go on the journey with you and be positive about it, not reactive, but positive, and get that lawyer on board who can, you know, help protect and provide that due diligence, and bring on the advisors. You know, we work holistically on the business, so we can look at it from all angles and then obviously work with the likes of yourself. So it is, for me, the elephant in the room. You know, businesses, I don't feel, address the need for help until it's too late. You know, there's so much benefit to be had in solid governance and specialists at the table. And I know you guys are about passionate as I am about it, right? So Andrew, your take on that?
Oh, look, I think as a sort of a general comment, I think that sort of small, medium-sized business around New Zealand could really benefit from some further input and on governance. I think, you know, getting in that independent person who can provide that guidance, who's got the experience, who's, you know, can spot issues, can help with planning, so important. And yeah, so I'm a huge believer in it, and I'm on a couple of boards myself, and I enjoy contributing. So yeah, it's absolutely endorse what you say.
Yeah, and you know, from my perspective, Kirit, you probably agree, it's have the right person at the table for the right thing. Like, it's not just about numbers, it's about value, correct?
Oh, most definitely. You would definitely want to make sure that you've got the right people on the table, and from time to time you actually bring in the different skill sets from different people. So it's not like if you've got a board today, that's the board that you always will have. You can actually change the skill sets in there, and as your business evolves and the needs change, you could actually have somebody with a marketing background, for example. Where marketing is the single biggest thing that the business needs for the next 12 months. People think that in recession you should actually stop marketing, hold back, cut your costs, but that's the place where you need to invest strategically, make sure that you are in front of people's faces, eyes, ears, because that's how you're going to be able to get business, because out of mind is out of sight. Sorry, out of sight is out of mind. So you just don't want to get into the trap, and then your board is over there to give the business owner the advice with the skill sets that they don't have. So it's quite important to have people around you, surrounded with you, and it's not like it's a huge expense. You don't need to have board meetings every week type of thing. It's done strategically. Certain plans are being made at a board level on a very infrequent basis, and at the more sort of ground level, yourself as the advisor could be over there helping them out to monitor and give them small objectives as they come along. But it's all about teamwork, because business success doesn't happen just by one person.
No,
Yeah, I think too, it also provides a bit of structure. Just thinking about what you were saying then, Kirit, and when you have that scheduled monthly meeting, it forces you to prepare those papers, a week before, and actually spend that time and being able to actually tell the story, which forces you to look into the business. So that's sort of a hidden benefit of it as well.
Yeah, and it's just bringing the talent to the table that you need, that you don't need to have in the business as a full-time situation. I mean, it's like all roles in a business, from HR to health and safety to marketing. The people are operating in the business. So if you can bring additional value to the board that can then filter through operational level, then that's going to also springboard learnings and opportunity for the people within the business. So I think it's just so important that you understand that you can do that at a board level. And look, I know you guys, sorry, my voice is going a bit croaky. It's definitely winter on the way. I know you guys need to head off, and we've covered off so much today. On Monday, Kirit, you and I are going to be back, which is bringing on a client, and I did have a lovely review I was going to share today, but she can talk about it in person. Nothing better than in person. So we'll be having a client come back on, and she'll be singing our praises, Kirit, and Andrew. Andrew's not here, but we'll let us sing your praises too. There's so much more that we all need to really cover off and be explored in the subject. So shall we do another part 2 on this and have another session on this? Because I think it's really important that we really dive into this subject matter a lot more and just keep it really at that real positive level, because it's doom and gloom, and it's no wonder people are getting dragged down. And we don't want people being mothballed and closing up shop. We want them to be surrounded with that positivity. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Resilience comes from building good foundational blocks with people that are positive. So surround yourself with great people is the point I'm making.
Yep. No, very happy to. Sounds great.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, look forward to it.
Awesome. And I look forward to finding out more about Urlich Milne Lawyers. I might have to give the guys a call, Andrew, and see how the first month has gone.
Yeah, that'd be good. Be the mystery shopper.
Exactly. Kirit, you were saying something, so I interrupted you.
Oh, I was just going to say I admire Andrew's view. I'm sure his office has changed for the better.
Yeah, now it's behind him, not in front of him. Like, we used to stare at Rangitoto and look in awe at your view and the boats and everything. But yeah, Sky Tower has suddenly shrunk somewhat in your view. So.
Yeah, that's I'm a little bit further out now, but that's quite nice.
Hey, it's always good catching up with both of you, and hopefully everyone who gets to watch this gets to understand that there is so much still to be explored and just keep it at that level. And I know from a personal point of view that when the funders know that you're working with people that are helping you, they're more likely to be positive about supporting you as well. So just ensure you surround yourself with the right people and get that accountability piece in place as well. So, hey guys, have a great day, and look forward to catching up with you, Kirit, Monday, and you, Andrew, and Kirit towards the end of next week.
Thanks
Look
very much.
forward
Thanks,
to it.
guys.
Okay, thank you, Catherine.
Take care.
Okay,
See ya.
see ya.
Bye.
Bye.